Route 3,
Yeah.
Route 46,
Yeah.
Route 21, the Garden State Parkway. I mean, there's a lot of people that go through Clifton every day. And is that a strain on the police department, or are there some issues that crop up? I know there's a lot of infrastructure plans being talked about, like with where 3 and 46.
Correct.
I mean, that's a big bottleneck sometimes. What kind of challenges does that present to the town?
Well, I know there is. I think they got pushed to around 2015, and where you're talking about that bottleneck going
right
westbound.
The
plans are to alleviate that by widening it. Of course, that's going to be a little bit of a patience with the people, like it is on Route 3 going the other way. As far as it affecting our police force, I don't know. I don't think so. Our police force is pretty on top of it, and you know, it's fast-moving traffic. So all you really get there is a little bit of accidents and backup, but not too much that is in need of police response that's taking away, you know, from the city. I mean, of course, there's going to be police response needed, but there's a lot of traffic that goes through the city of Clifton. I mean, you know, like you said, 46 and Route 3 and 21 and Clifton is a big city. It's a big city.
You seem to have a lot of activity in the different malls along those.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know, even the newer mall. I mean, there seems to be a lot of. It seems to be very successful.
Yeah, it has been. Which
is what section is that? Is that in the Delawana section with that mall?
Well, it branches down to Delawana and up to Allwood. That's where the Circle is, where the Stuyertown Shopping Center is, down to Passaic Ave. It's called the Promenade. And they have the LA Fitness and all new restaurants coming in there, and Stu Leonard's and TGI Fridays, and they just put in recently Trader Joe's. Just came there, and people are happy about that. But of course, with that comes more traffic, you know, and more backup, and it's to be expected. I mean, there's nothing you could do about progress. Once you have progress, you know, it's going to happen.
What about the issue of jobs? I know there's a certain amount of jobs in these different malls, but some years ago there was a number of major employers that called Clifton home. Is that still going on to a certain degree? You know, the manufacturing component in sections of town.
I mean, like the old business, like Givaudan and things
all
of
those
that
places.
nature?
I mean, they were all. You know, I mean, I know they moved out, but I mean, it has some type of manufacturing, you know, taken its place, or is just not to the same level?
Not to the same level. I mean, you know, when you had Schulton and Givaudan and all these
they were big employers. Schulton had a couple thousand people probably at one time.
They were big, and that's kind of, I think at that point in time, you know, life's about change. And back then, Clifton was very tractable because of the ratables, and the taxes were lower because of that. And now they were replaced with townhomes on townhomes, and, you know, the businesses are good, but the businesses bring traffic, you know, where the old businesses, it was like a school in a sense, where you were there at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day you left. Where these businesses now, it's constant flow of traffic. So there's, you know what, the truth is there's pros and cons to everything, but not to that same level of manufacturing. Because that type of manufacturing, truthfully, is moving out of not just Clifton, but out of New Jersey, unfortunately.
You know, you mentioned before about the diversity of Clifton.
Yeah.
You know, somebody told me going back a few months ago that during the course of the year, there's about 15 or 16 flag raisings of different cultures. I mean, maybe you just want to, you know, cite a few of those. I mean, really, it's really a melting pot, and like almost like United Nations as far as the composition of Clifton.
That's very true, and as you know, I see at most of those flag raisings too in Clifton. We have an awful lot, every ethnic background you could think of, from Peruvian, Colombian, Hungarian, Polish, Italian, you know, you name it. It's just a laundry list of ethnicities that come to Clifton and want to raise their children and start their businesses and their families in Clifton, and I like that. That's a good thing. It's nice to have, you know,
It seems that the school system is what kind of brings families to Clifton. I mean, you still have a tremendous reputation. I know there's challenges like every school system, but it's still, you know, as compared to schools in, you know, the immediate area, it's kind of a place that brings people into town.
Yeah. I mean, you know, as a realtor too, you see that when people are moving into a city or moving out, the primary reasons are usually school, taxes, and safety. So Clifton, I think, is pretty strong in all of those areas. You know, our safety for what we're working on is as good as it can be. Our police forces is one of the best. Schools are, you know, our schools are fine. There's nothing to complain about our school systems. And the truth of the matter is, I believe our taxes are pretty fair and balanced to a point. You know, people always will complain about their taxes no matter where they live. But if you put our property taxes in comparison to neighboring towns, we're still faring pretty well.
Maybe put your real estate hat on. Foreclosures in Clifton, have you had a fair amount of those?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there's a fair amount of foreclosures across the board. They temporarily had a moratorium on the foreclosures, if you might remember, some time ago, not too long ago, only because of the paperwork. They thought it wasn't being done fairly and properly, so they kind of put a halt on that. And that gave people a false impression that the foreclosures were slowing down. But unfortunately, once that cleared up, now the market's being a little bit more inundated with the foreclosures because they're moving forward.
And what about the issue of vacant properties? Is that something that's, you know, I mean, with these foreclosures, with the banks taking them over and things like that? I mean, you try to, you know, minimize that, I'm sure, the best you can.
Well, yeah, there's only so much you could do. If a person leaves their home or forecloses on their home and it's a vacant property, all you could do as a town is stay on top of the bank who owns the property
to maintain
keep it clean. Yeah, to maintain it. That's probably the biggest headache. You know, it's hard. And then what the city does is the city will go out if necessary and we'll maintain it and then just, you know, get reimbursed from the bank at such time.
Well, how do you find, like, what people say wanting to come into town about getting mortgages? I mean, everybody seems to say that the little people really, they get put through the ringer in terms of trying to you know, get the mortgage. And what's the typical amount that people need, you know, if they wanted to buy a piece of property, like percentage down?
Well, you know, the old school many years ago was 20% down, and that's what they should have stuck to, and they wouldn't have gotten this mess in the first place years ago. But you have a lot of FHAs, which is 3% down, and that's fine, but then the property has to appraise. And the downfall to that is when the government's backing that loan, and they do the appraisal, if there's any shortcomings of the home, the lender says, I want this fixed, or I'm not lending the money, and the seller says, well, I'm not going to do that, and then
so they can't afford it,
the buyer can't afford to do it, so many deals are falling apart. Lending practices are definitely tight, there's no question. You know, I'm not trying to say that to discourage, but the lending practice is very tight. I mean, people refinancing their own home with good credit, it's taken 8 months. You know, the slowing up of the real estate is truthfully, in my opinion, because of the lending. The lending is just not, it's just not there like it should be. And that's holding good people and bad people up. Good people are being penalized by not given the opportunity to advance their financial situations with banks. And if that's happening, how, if you can't further your business, how can you help the other guy who depends on your business? It's tough.
You mentioned before that, you know, you were involved with the Athenia Business Association.
Yes.
That kind of propelled you to
Yes.
run for Clifton City Council. What other organizations have you been involved with over the years? I know you come, of course, with a great deal of Polish traditions, to put it mildly. I mean, I know you were raised in a well-known Polish family in town. I'm sure a couple with that, the cultural things and religious and what have you. What other activities?
Recently or just in general?
Well, just over the years.
Well, I mean, over the years, I believe in the early 90s, I was on the rent leveling board in the city of Clifton. I served as a commissioner and then a chairman. I was appointed by Governor Keene. No, not Governor Keene, I'm sorry, I'm dating myself there. I was appointed by Governor McGreevey to the New Jersey Sports Hall of Fame Board of Directors. I also, the Athenia Business Association was something that the ex-councilwoman and Mayor Gloria Koloje had thought, because of my roots in the Athenia section, to resurrect it. Because at one time the Athenia Business Association was very active in the 60s, and then it kind of went dormant for a while. And she made a suggestion that I probably would be the best candidate to do that, being that I live in the Athenia section.
So what do you do, like with these, like the business association or the SIDS, you know, try to promote business, cleanliness, signage, public safety? I mean, what's your goal in terms of trying to make sure these neighborhoods are viable?
Well, I mean, as far as our association is concerned, we just try to help work hand in hand with the city to give the businesses whatever they need to survive.
What, trying to promote, you know, Shop Clifton, so to speak, with the holidays?
Yeah, Shop Clifton, or in other words, one issue that I was helpful with was when I got elected was Van Houten Ave had parking restrictions. So if you wanted to open up a business, a lot of times they said, well, we can't approve that because there's no parking. We helped lift those parking restrictions. So now you could come into this Van Houten Ave or the Athenia section, and you want to be a bakery or a restaurant, you're not subject to no parking. Now, that always kind of I found funny, because we have a pretty large parking lot, municipal lot in Clifton, which is, easily within walking distance of half of the places. And if you go to somewhere like New York City, where do you see a parking spot right in front of anywhere you're walking there?
Well, it does make a big difference in terms of people jumping in and jumping out. They have to do a quick stop with a coffee or bakery or something, cleaners, things like that. It's that's very important.
Yeah, no, so, I think it's just a matter of finding out the business's needs, whether it's parking, signage, cleanliness. We implemented some safety grip crosswalks from City Hall down as a pilot program for the rest of the city of Clifton to bring awareness that that's a crosswalk, to allow to put the stop for pedestrian crosswalking signage in the street, which acts as also slowing up traffic, as much as we can to make it safe, clean, and attract more attention.
When are you up for re-election in the city?
2014, May of 2014 is the city council's re-election.
Yeah, that's the way coming around quick, doesn't it?
It's coming very quick.
You get through this particular year. Do you have any particular goals during this next year and a half you're going to be looking at or trying to concentrate in terms of the city? I know there's many things being thrown out. I guess the budget is a major issue in terms of trying to cope with that and then work with the city manager. Maybe just tell us a little bit about the form of government. I mean, you have the city manager and the mayor. Maybe just want to identify
Correct.
them.
I mean, our form of government is this. The city manager is our form of government who runs the city, the day-to-day operation.
Matt Watkins.
Matthew Watkins, correct. He's the guy who runs the day-to-day operations of the city of Clifton. The mayor and council basically set policy. That is our... And
the mayor, of course, is Giblin.
Giblin Zaldi's our mayor.
For a number of years.
He's been mayor for a long time.
25 plus years, even more than that, I think it is.
Yeah, he's getting up there. About 28 years, give or take, he's been up there.
That's a long time.
He's doing a great job, and his heart is in Clifton, as many of the council members are. And our responsibility is like I said, implement policies that affect the city of Clifton, and then our city manager carries out our instructions regarding policy. But our form of government is the city manager runs the day-to-day operations.
Councilman Grabowski, if any of our viewers, want to reach out and contact you, how would they go about that?
We have a website. It's cliftonnj.org, www.cliftonnj.org. You could go to the website and look under, I think it's Mayor and Council, and you could find every council member's email there, and you could email us accordingly to whatever your questions or concerns may be. And
when do the council meetings? What tradition, the days of the month are they?
They're every first and third Tuesday of every month, 6:30, and then we have a public portion that starts at 8 o'clock, and there's 5 minutes for each person if they want to come up and address any issues. That's a public portion of the meeting. The first 6:30 to 8 is just your basic, whatever we have to get involved with the city's, issues.
The only thing looking at the Clifton City Council and the government over the years, once people get elected, they have pretty good longevity in public service. I mean, I think of Gloria Kaloja, who retired the last time that she was there.
Gloria's been there a long time.
Was there a long time. And of course, Mayor Zaldi and other folks that are on the council, they do a good job and seems to have the public keeps reelecting them.
Well, when I ran and when we were having these forums to speak about, we always talked about why you ran. And the way my thing is, Clifton is my home. So my interest was for my home, to protect my home. So I think if that's your best interest, then people are going to keep you there for a long time because your interest is their interest. Okay,
I want to thank Councilman Matt Grabowski for coming on the Giblin Report, giving us an update about things that are happening in Clifton and in his work as a member of the Clifton City Council. And to our viewers, I just want to note, if you have any pressing issues that may require my attention or any questions regarding current state legislation, you can contact me at 973-779-3125 or, of course, by email, asmgiblin@njleg.org. For more information, you can go to my website at www.assemblymangiblin.com. Thanks for watching the Giblin Report, and remember, if it's an issue to you, it's an issue to me. Thanks for watching the Giblin Report.